Hi there, it's Mary here. And I want to talk about feedback. Do you ever find yourself having important conversations while upset? They don't usually go well, do they? The Gottmans, who are famous marriage researchers, relationship and therapist researchers, say that something like 94% of conversations end how they begin. So when I'm talking to clients or when I'm working with teams, I'm frankly kind of surprised. I'm often shocked at how few of them even consider doing the kinds of prep work that I'll be talking about both in this video and I've written about in the description below. You know, before a big conversation, how do you get yourself ready? How do you make sure that you set yourself up for success? So I've listed a couple key NVC skills. Take a look at that. And I've also added a resource for you, a link to a feedback readiness checklist that I'd love for you to check out. That's in the description below. But I want to go over a couple key things to think about. You know, so whether this is you're giving somebody feedback at work and it's in a formal context, this is like a performance review or some kind of something where it's expected, or if something essential just needs to be pointed out to a collaborator, you know, here are some of the things I want you to think about. There's 7 of them. And so the first one is, am I resourced enough right now to have this meeting? You know, do I have enough time? Literally, do I have a sense of how much bandwidth it's going to take? Emotionally, do I feel kind of calm and sort of centered? Or am I feeling reactive and upset? You know, like there's something really important about having a sense, having that awareness about when you're triggered, when you're upset, so you can make sure to do something about it before you begin talking. Conversations that start off in that way are some of the ones that really tend to go sideways. So on that note, are you even aware of, and have you been thinking about, are you keeping tabs on whatever your general challenges are in feedback? So if you happen to know about yourself that you tend to come across a little too blunt and it cuts to the bone, then have you practiced some verbiage? Have you checked it out with somebody that you trust so that you can say, like, all right, how does this sound? Do I need to kind of soften this up? Is this a little too much? Or on the flip side, if you're one of those people that tends to give feedback that's so massaged that it's hard for the person receiving it to even know exactly what your point is, you know, try out some verbiage for yourself. You know, are you being clear enough? Do you have a sense of whatever it is that you struggle with, and take some time to practice? So third, what is my focus intention wise? So even though we're talking about feedback, that may imply that, like, my focus is on expressing something. You know, in MVC, we talk about the 3 focuses in terms of self-empathy, empathy, or asking, or the focus and the spotlight is on them, or honesty or expression, and the focus and the spotlight is on myself. So I want you to be clear on whether you really want to get something across that's on your mind, or sometimes the most important thing you can do in some of these conversations is ask some clarifying questions. Say, like, you know, I notice I'm really confused about some of the things that have been going on. And, you know, like, I want you to be aware of, like, my focus is on them. I want to elicit info. I want to find out what's going on over there. What matters to this person? What are they needing? Right. So clarity on sort of what the intention is my awareness going to be here or there? Right. And what do they need? Have I spent some time thinking about what might be going on for them under the level of whatever the content is that I may be paying attention to? Do I have any part of me tracking the meta, you know, what the needs are, what the feelings are involved, mine and theirs? So if I'm paying attention to that, this one kind of goes hand in hand. The 5th piece of this readiness checklist is, what kinds of requests do I have a sense that they're going to need to make of me, if that's even relevant? A lot of people have a hard time making requests. And so if I don't know what somebody's asking for or needs out of a collaboration or is looking for from me, can I elicit information to help them make a clearer request. In other words, if the agreements aren't quite solid, then I may need to kind of touch in with them in order to get the information that I can make some suggestions, make some offers, or say, like, what kinds of things are you asking for? What are your asks? Okay. So number 6, this one is probably my favorite. When I'm training new teams, I will, when presenting this concept, often say, like, to me, this one thing can be such a game changer. And that is this key MVC distinction of the difference between a judgment and an observation. So have you translated your judgments into observations? So this is, you almost certainly have judgments. A lot of MVC practitioners try to transcend their judgmental self. And I like to teach, hey, we probably have a judgment. We probably have a should. We have opinions about how we think things ought to go at work. And my sense is that often the more of an expertise we have in a particular area, the more judgments, the more opinions, the more thoughts, and so on that we have. So that doesn't need to be a bad thing, but in the context of giving feedback, have you shifted the sort of shoulds in your mind about what the other person is or isn't doing and looked for the clean observation? That right there is so fundamental, so key, and will make a big difference. The last thing is related sort of to this idea of an observation is, what are my requests? Like, both in the context of the short term, in the context of this very conversation, are you open to listening? Are you open to giving me a sense of how this lands for you? Some of those kinds of connection requests. In the short term, in terms of the collaboration, so we're going to be working together for the next 3 weeks. In the context of the long game, sometimes there are different needs when you think about those different timeframes. So feel into that. If this is a really short-term collaboration and then we're never going to work together again, the conversation might go a little bit differently than if you're likely to be somebody I'm going to be collaborating with over and over. So what are my doable requests? If I haven't made a clean observation, it's going to be a lot harder to come up with a doable request. The two tend to be kind of linked. So think about that. Let yourself get really clear on some of those pieces. It will help you come up with the verbiage that you want to use in the conversation. And I really hope it'll help make these conversations feel a lot smoother, a lot more connected. You can set boundaries and still maintain trust. These are all things that we experience in MVC, and I want that for you. So let me know how it goes. And please, if you want to see more of these videos, make sure you like this page, and we'll see you on the next call.